What do you guys think? Look at that view. Isn't it pretty? Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch. And today, we're gonna try and get the Range Rover Camper into gear. Oil pump gear, that is. Those of you who caught the last video on the camper know that we had zero oil pressure. Was hoping I could just get it primed with some fresh oil. Wasn't the case. Today, we try and see what went wrong. So here we are, we're gonna tackle digging a little more into this guy and seeing what's going on. Under the hood's a familiar place lately. By the looks of it there, I'm not the first person to ever have to work on this. But no, at 230,000 miles and being a Land Rover product, obviously, it's had some stuff replaced. Like I said in the last video, this is a fresh-ish, few thousand miles on a reman short block, I believe from Atlantic British, redone cylinder heads. So it is a good power plant to have. So we want to make sure we have oil pressure and not ruin that. We do have some good news though. Kind of thought about this after getting ready to pull the pan. Being this is a rebuilt engine, I was wondering if someone replaced these guys on the front cover with bolts. It's supposed to be studs. If they are studs, you have to drop the pan to get this front cover off. But being we have bolts now, we should be able to snake that cover out. It'll be a little bit of a time and mess saver. We are happy about that. Got a little bit of a controlled drain going on here. Always having to work on Rovers can be exhausting. All right, coolant is drained, so all we gotta do now is get the water pump out and the crank pulley off. And we'll see if we have a broken gear. That's my leading theory, and it seems to be the most popular opinion on the comments in the last video. So we'll see if the majority is right, although I would find it funny if Kenneth was right with rag in the bottom of the oil pan. So got the crank pulley off and that guy popped out with it. So that might be a little concerning. I don't know what that guy is, but he's been bugging me. It's got like, it's a bee, but he's got like a worm or something. We're under here, got the two bolts in the oil pan. Normally those are studs, which would mean we'd have to pull the oil pan, but just bolts now. Someone did me the favor and replaced those. Once again, I robbed Sasha's pillow, and she's not happy about it and made me share. Right, Sasha? Alright, front cover is off. What do you guys think? It's gonna be the moment of truth. We just have to get this cover out of the way. Okay, so we got the gear out. It is in one piece, but it does appear to have some wear. A little bit of ridge on the front, but on the lobes itself, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it is ridged out. And the outer gear has the same on the inner lobes, a little more. But the outside of it is pretty chooched up. And we've ridged the cover some. We're gonna get all this cleaned up. I'm gonna pull the oil bypass valve out as well. And with the gear not being broken, we have to figure out, is this chicken or the egg? Is that gear wore because we didn't have oil pressure, or do we not have oil pressure because that gear is worn? All right, that guy is all intact, and the valve moves freely in the housing and looks to be in decent shape, so don't believe that's the issue. And the valve was still up in the closed position when I pulled it apart. All right, since that wasn't definitive, we're gonna go ahead and drop the pan too. Since we're this close, it would be foolish of me to not do that and at least check the sump out. So the oil pan is out, no rag in there. And from down here, it doesn't appear that the pickup tube is blocked up or anything. But we're gonna yank that guy off. So the pickup looks fairly clean. We'll stick a flashlight in it and make sure. And the seal looks intact, so I don't believe that was the issue. All right, nothing alarming in the bottom of the oil pan. We're gonna zip that guy back up in place, just so that is covered up and not open to the elements. Cover is looking shinier. We're gonna throw the rest of this stuff in the ultrasonic cleaner as well, get it all degreased. Hey, we also got that old Oliver carburetor all cleaned up. Turned out pretty decent. So we have our front cover chewed up a little bit, and then our gear is chewed up as well. So we are gonna need at least a gear set for it. I'm gonna clean up this, and then we will check the clearance. I believe it's supposed to be like 7 thousandths from the outer gear to the cover. So if it's past that, we're gonna need a new front cover as well. So I guess if any of you out there have a distributor front cover for a Rover V8, let me know down below. Might be willing to buy it off you. Otherwise we'll find one of those. But it's kind of hard to determine whether it lost its prime or the gear chewed itself up. I'm going to almost guess it lost its prime, because it shouldn't have done that in the short period that that engine's been in there, unless the people who installed it didn't even check the gear, which I'm guessing if you're spending the money and it was a shop that was familiar with Rovers, that they checked the gear. So probably lost its prime, chewed the gear up because it had no oil to the gear, and cross our fingers that the engine is healthy, but it was not run long. So we're up on top of the world right now. No, really, it's just the top of the new shop. We are doing our final few things. Everything's framed out, everything's braced up. We just have to add a couple screws on these guys here along the eave, slice off some extra on the end of that 2x6. Other than that, look at that guy. Look at from up here. You can see a nada. Look at that view. Isn't it pretty? We got our corner braces, a couple more screws, and all the lumber is in place. We have pretty much nothing left lumber wise, just a few boards so I can frame out a man door. But as it turns out, you have to go actually pick up the door to be able to do that. Who'd have thunk? So that's the last piece. Zip that flush with this guy using the Sawzall, and then the framing is complete, which, look at right there, we have our steel that has been delivered, finally in stock. So framing done, steel's here. That means we're gonna have an actual roof on this thing sooner than I would have thought. Maybe on the next video, maybe not, but maybe. I would try and hold this Sawzall and the camera and cut that off, but it's quite high. That just doesn't seem like it's gonna end well, so I will show you the end result after I cut it. There, that guy is all flushed off. I promise that was done in a safe manner. And let me give you a sneak peek of one of the colors. But with that news, on the next video we will announce the winner of either a hat or a shirt. We'll leave that open until this video goes live, so anyone who picked either the oil pump gear or prime, you're going to be entered into that, and we'll randomly select one of you, send you one out. it can be anywhere in the world. But as always, appreciate you guys watching. We will catch you on the next one, and hopefully we'll have some of that steel up on the building, and it'll look like a building. Have you ever noticed that once you smash one finger, you seem to keep smashing more? Or is that just my problem?